Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the December 2015 Texas Tech University Commencement exercises. Please join me in thanking the Texas Tech Commencement Band and conductor Dwayne Hill, Associate Director of Bands, for their participation in this afternoon's ceremonies. The Texas Tech Commencement Band is provided for today's exercises through the auspices of the Office of the President of Texas Tech University. Now entering the United Supermarkets Arena, the Mace of Texas Tech, the symbol of the university. The mace bearer is Dr. Wei Wu Zhang, Associate Professor of Public Relations, College of Media and Communication. Following the mace is the faculty banner. The banner bearer is Dr. Robin H. Locke, Associate Dean for Graduate Education and Research and Professor of Educational Psychology and Leadership, College of Education. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the faculty of Texas Tech University, led by University Marshals Carrie Simi and Dr. David Klein. Now entering the United Supermarkets Arena, the stage party, led by University Marshals Dr. Barry McCool, Chair of the Convocations Committee, and Laura Heinz, Chair-elect of the Convocations Committee. Ladies and gentlemen, please remain seated and welcome the December 2015 graduates of Texas Tech University, led by University Marshals Dr. Alan Berenberg, Dr. Courtney Gibson, Tom Rohrig, and Heidi Winkler. Now entering the United Supermarkets Arena, the Graduate School banner. The banner bearer is Luke J. Mayer.
Please rise and join us in the singing of our national anthem, played by the Commencement Orchestra, conducted by Mr. Dwayne Hill and sung by Mr. Stephen Sims, who's graduating with a Doctoral of Musical Arts degree tonight. Let's join in the singing of our national anthem. Please be seated. I'm Dwayne Nellis, President of Texas Tech University, and it's my pleasure to welcome each of you to this, the December 2015 commencement of the Graduate School. I would like to introduce the members of the platform party. Please hold your applause until all have been introduced. Mr. Tim Lancaster, member of the Board of Regents. Coach Marcia Sharp, Head Coach Emerita and tonight's commencement speaker. Mr. Robert Duncan, Chancellor of the Texas Tech University System, Dr. Lawrence Skuvenek, Provost and Senior Vice President, Dr. Ron Milam, Faculty Senate Representative, Mr. Ben Monticello, Staff Senate President, Mr. Holton Westbrook, President of the Student Government Association, Ms. Saba Nafis, Vice President for Graduate Affairs, Ms. Ashley Taylor, President of the Graduate Student Advisory Council, Dr. Bill Passwork, Teaching Academy Representative, Dr. Loretta Bradley, Horn Professor Representative, Dr. Mark Sheridan, Dean of the Graduate School, Dr. Michael Gallion, Dean of the College of Agricultural Sciences and Natural Resources, Professor Maria Pellegrini, Associate Dean for Graduate Programs of the College of Architecture, Dr. W. Brent Lindquist, Dean of the College of Arts and Sciences, Dr. Paul Goebel, Interim Dean of the Jerry S. Rawls College of Business, Dr. Scott Ridley, Dean of the College of Education, Dr. Audra Morris, Associate Dean for Undergraduate Studies of the Edward E. Whitaker Jr. College of Engineering, Dr. Michael San Francisco, Dean of the Honors College, Dr. Linda Hoover, Dean of the College of Human Sciences, Dr. Bella Carr Gerlich, Dean of Libraries, Dr. David Perlmutter, Dean of the College of Media and Communication, Mr. Andrew Martin, Interim Dean of the College of Visual and Performing Arts, Dr. Robert Duncan, Senior Vice President for Research. Let's give these people a round of applause. And now it's my pleasure to introduce Mr. Tim Lancaster, member of the Board of Regents for Texas Tech University System, who will give welcome on behalf of the board. Let's welcome Regent Lancaster.
Well, good evening, and welcome to Texas Tech University and the United Supermarket Spirit Arena. Today, I bring you greetings from the Texas Tech University System Board of Regents. I welcome each of you to our beautiful campus and congratulate the parents, other family members, and friends who join us today. I have been here as a Texas Tech graduate, and I have been here as a parent of 2 Texas Tech graduates, and honestly, was much more grateful to be here as a parent for this day than I was when I was a student. So graduates, sometime today or tomorrow, find time to give a little appreciation to the friends and families that have helped you to sit where you are today. Because this is a time of celebration, certainly for you as students and for your families, but also for every group that is represented on this stage, including the faculty who have invested themselves in each and every one of you as graduates. On behalf of the entire Board of Regents, I congratulate you today as you receive your diplomas. The fact that you're even here today is a sign of your commitment and your dedication. You earned this degree through hard work and determination, but it's also a bittersweet moment for you. While you're eager to enter the next phase of your life, I'm sure that there are many memories, that many of you are thinking of those wonderful memories that you created as a student here at Texas Tech. Some of those memories you will even want to share with your family members. But not all those memories. Some of those memories are just best kept here in Lubbock and among your closest friends. But you've made all those memories here through friends, family restaurants, weekly activities that you enjoyed. Maybe you participated in social or spirit organizations. Maybe you played sports or you marched in the band. And there are those classes that really made your college experience come alive. And then there were those classes that you thought would never end, but that's life. And as time goes on, you're going to miss each and every one of them. And the longer you are away from Texas Tech, the more you'll realize it's those little things which make being a Red Raider special. You will come to realize how special the traditions are that hold all Red Raiders together and make us, in many respects, a family. Someday, you'll be in a faraway city and you will notice a guy wearing a double T on his hat, and you'll immediately strike up a conversation through a mutual bond with a complete stranger. Or you're driving and you notice the double T on the bumper and you wonder if it's someone you know. or you hear about something exciting that's happening at Texas Tech, whether in sports or an academic achievement, and you immediately have those fond memories of the time that you spent at Texas Tech. You carry that Texas Tech pride deep inside you, even when not wearing the red and black on the outside. And today, you become a part of another tradition at Texas Tech, a tradition of graduates who have left Texas Tech to become leaders in their families and their communities. Maybe you'll go on to become rich and famous. Maybe you'll lead corporations, states, or even our nation. Regardless of whatever path that you take, always remember where you received your education. The chancellor will always tell you it's good to give back to your alma mater, financially or otherwise. So today, I wish you much success on this next phase of your journey. Please keep in touch. You're always welcome here. And as always, go Texas Tech.
Thank you, Regent Lancaster. And now it's my pleasure to introduce Mr. Robert Duncan, Chancellor of the Texas Tech University System, who will address the graduates, faculty, and members of the audience. Let's welcome our Chancellor, Robert Duncan.
Well, from the moment you stepped on this campus, you always heard us say, from here it's possible. Many of you in the graduate school working on your master's or your PhD came from other undergraduate institutions or other countries. But here and from this location, this is now your graduate alumni home. From all of us here who are undergraduates at Texas Tech, and for those of you who have come here to pursue advancing your educational opportunity, we are proud of you. It's really exciting. From here it's possible. People like Scott Pelley from Lubbock, Texas, who anchors the CBS Evening News, sit in those very chairs that you're sitting in today. I would imagine in his wildest dreams he would be in that position. People like Karen Tandy, who was the head of the Drug Enforcement Agency in Washington, D.C. People like Susan Graham from Midland, whom my wife and I recently heard perform in the New York Metropolitan Opera and is among the foremost mezzo-sopranos in the world. Persons like Dallas Braden, an athlete, but a Texas Tech Red Raider baseball pitcher who pitched the 19th perfect game in Major League history. How cool is that? From here, it's possible. Now, not only do you hear things like these people, but we've had from Texas Tech University, Secretary of the Education, Dr. Laurel Cavazos, one of our former presidents. We have had governors, Governor Preston Smith, Supreme Court justices for the state of Texas. But you know what we're missing? We're missing a president of the United States. I think it's our time. This class is probably going to produce that next great leader of the world. Many of you are here by graduate fellowships, scholarships. Many of those fellowships and scholarships have names on them. And those are investments made in you by mostly alumni of this university. Their investment is made in you because they believe in you and have faith that you will change the world. And that is a great investment that these persons have made. But there's more to it than that. As you become successful, we believe that it is appropriate for you also to be able to support other students who had, and be sure that they have the same opportunity that you had. So it's always good to walk around here and see the names of people on buildings who have given back to this university to ensure that we continue to invest in great minds and great opportunities like you. So from here it's possible, and we want to hear from you, and we want to hear about how well you do and how successful you are. So whether you're an undergraduate here or this is your first degree from here, we want to see you back. So guns up, congratulations, and thank you.
Thank you, Chancellor Duncan. And now it's my honor and pleasure to introduce to you this year's commencement speaker. In her 24 seasons as head coach of the Texas Tech Lady Raiders, Marcia Sharp won her and her teams won 572 games and she led her team to 8 conference championships, 10 Sweet 16 appearances, 4 Elite Eights, and a national championship in 1993. Named National Coach of the Year in 1993 and 1994, she also earned Southwest Conference Big 12 Coach of the Year honors 7 times. Coach Sharp was inducted into the Texas Women's Hall of Fame in 1999, the Texas Sports Hall of Fame in 2000, the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame in 2003, and the Texas Panhandle Sports Hall of Fame in 2008. In the spring of 2010, she received the Naismith Outstanding Contributor to Basketball Award and the Women's Basketball Coaches Association Jostens Berenson Lifetime Achievement Award. Thanks to her vision, persistence, and her own initial gift, the Marcia Sharp Center for Student Athletes opened in January of 2004. The center provides student athletes with the most up-to-date academic service facilities in the nation. Retirement from the coaching arena has only left more time and energy to expand Coach Sharp's career and to pursue her other passions, both locally and nationally. On the national level, she was president of the Women's Basketball Coaches Association from 2001 to 2003, executive director of the Kay Yow Cancer Fund from 2009 to 2011, and she's a lifelong member of the Kay Yow Cancer Fund Board of Directors, and she's also a member of the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame Board of Directors. Coach Sharp is involved locally with the YWCA, serving as past president of the Board of Directors, the Carillon Senior Life Care Community Board of Directors, the Sharp Academy Lubbock Learning Difference Center Advisory Board, and the Second Baptist Church. Currently an Associate Athletic Director for Special Projects, Coach Sharp has developed the Fearless Champions Leadership Academy. She oversees the Marcia Sharp Leadership Circle, professional development, and community involvement. She's a sought-after speaker throughout our nation. She's a consultant, a team-building expert. She continues to promote the topics of gender equity, civility, ethics, and leadership for coaching staffs, athletic teams, and corporations. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to introduce our commencement speaker, Marcia Sharp.
Thank you, Dr. Nellis. I really appreciate the opportunity to be asked to speak to this wonderful occasion, and it's really an honor for me to be with you tonight. Congratulations to you on your graduation, your graduate degrees. That's a fabulous honor, of course, and hard work, and lots of folks around this arena I know who have helped you immensely to get to this point. It means you're pretty serious about what you do, and I think that's a pretty fabulous thing to say, and I know you're going to go and do great things. I think you're probably really excited about the chance to say that this part of your journey is complete, and you should celebrate that tonight. At the same time, I know that there are things that are roaming around in your head right now that you're trying to decide exactly what your next steps will be, and I know you'll do a great job and represent this university well. I hope you'll always feel like you have a chance to bleed red and black. There'll be opportunities that you have to promote this university all around the world, and I think you should be proud to be able to do that, and people here work very diligently to make sure that it's a university that you can continue to be very proud of. When I was trying to decide what would be appropriate, particularly for this group tonight, if you're receiving a graduate degree, I thought of several things that maybe I could talk about in a short period of time that maybe could help you. Maybe something that I had learned from my own personal experiences that might be impactful for you. And there were a lot of things I thought might be appropriate, but the one that I decided on deals with the subject of how we choose to make a difference in our world. Because there's absolutely no doubt that our world needs you. We need your passion and your compassion and the things that you're about. We need your education. We need the things that you bring to the table to try to make our world a better place. I think when you've done as much as you have in the world of education and your goals and ideals are really big, a question that we all have to consider, I hope I ask myself this question continually still today, are my gifts and talents only to benefit me, or is there more to it than that? Sometimes the world and our society promotes the fact that we deserve good things because of the price that we've paid, and I agree with that. Can I say to you that there is absolutely nothing wrong with success? I would always be your biggest cheerleader for you to be successful in whatever field and whatever your goals are, to be able to meet those. I hope you do well financially. I hope you make money that you can do things that you want to do for yourself and your family. If it's power and influence and fame that you're after, I hope you have an opportunity to do all of those things. There's not anything wrong with any of them, as long as they are not your total focus or motivation. Because I think I've learned that it has to be about more than money or wins or recognition. That those are things that should be a means to an end of a lot more important endeavors. You're too worthy to let that be the only thing that motivates you. Sometimes I think people call it creating a platform about ways that you can impact your world. A platform based on all of your experiences that bring you to this point. And what am I going to do now that's going to be a significant contribution to other people? For instance, many times athletes will use platforms which they have created based on successful careers to find ways to contribute to society in a positive way. Sometimes you'll see that in the form of a foundation or something that they're really trying to support financially to make the world a better place for people who maybe weren't quite as talented or fortunate as they were. It's the same concept that we see when political candidates talk to us about their platforms, which contain issues that they are passionate about and things that they want to impact if they are elected to a position. So tonight, I think I want to encourage you to think about your own platform. What do you want to be about? If you could choose your legacy and the things that you want to be about at some point in your life, exactly what would that look like for you? I think it's something that we should give some thought to. Early in my life, when I was just got my undergraduate degree, I found a quote that I thought was really important to me. It hangs on a wall in my home still today. It's from Eleanor Roosevelt, and I think it talks a little bit about what I'm trying to talk with you about tonight. She says, "I have never given very much thought to a philosophy of life, though I have a few ideas that I think are useful to me. One is that you do whatever comes your way as well as you can. Another is that you think as little as possible about yourself and as much as possible about others and things that are interesting to you. The third is that you get more joy out of giving joy to others and should put a good deal of thought into the happiness that you're able to give." You see, I think that's called bigger picture living. That is how we can positively impact other people in our world. And at the end of the day, honestly, it's what matters the most. For some of you, it's going to be your life's calling, and you spent a great deal of your life already getting ready for these moments. You're going to go out every day and in your chosen field impact people in a very special way. Folks who need your support, people who need a hand up, people who need you to believe in them to take those next steps. Certainly, it should be an intentional awareness of building strong, trusting relationships within your family and your inner circle, and that you always show up to support them. Sometimes I think one of the most important things we do is show up. It's not necessarily what we say or do, but just that we're always there to be a support when we're needed. It may be because of a life experience that you've already had or that you will have in the future, or maybe someone you love that leads you in an area where you know you want to try to impact something in a very special way. It could be a random connection, something that comes across your radar that you were never expecting, something that shows up that you know immediately when you see it, I really want to try to be a part of the solution for this. It's something that really pulls at your heartstrings that you know that you want to attempt to try to help. I'm not really too big on war stories or my personal experiences, but I want to tell you one tonight because I think it has to do with the platform that I was so blessed to create for my career. An opportunity came in front of me because people who were great Red Raider fans and fans of our women's basketball program had a young son who was diagnosed with dyslexia when he was 6 years old, severely dyslexic. We watched him go through his elementary school years and really struggle. About 4 or 5 years into that, we recognized that there was a gap in our educational system. And some of us decided that we wanted to try to fill in that space, that we wanted to try to help this child and others like him to be able to reach their full potential. So we formed an academy. The first year we had 9 kids, it's grown to 70 now. Last year we had our first full graduating class. All of them are in college this year. But about 3 years in, there was a young girl who was a 3rd grader who was also struggling mightily with dyslexia. She was being bullied at school. People were making fun of her. She was begging her parents every day not to make her go because she was so distraught. They brought her to the academy. The first day, she ran down the hall with the teacher, or with the director of the academy, to the class where all the kids were, and the kids immediately embraced her and told her, "You don't have to worry anymore. You don't have to be afraid. We're all the same here. We take care of each other. You're going to be able to read, and we promise you, you're smart." Later that day, she runs back down the hall, gets in a car with her mom. And her mom calls back a little bit and tells the story that as soon as she got in, she looked at her mother, had this huge smile on her face, and said, "Thank you, Mommy. Today is the greatest day of my life." I'm telling you that for this reason. You know what? There are some banners and trophies in this building that have a great significance to me. They represent some memories and moments for me that I am incredibly proud of. But not a single one of them could be as important as the well-being of that child. Those are the opportunities I want for you. Those are the opportunities I want you to chase. They could be anything from a random small act of kindness that you can begin to deal with the second you walk out of this arena tonight. Put your head on a swivel and try to find ways that you can make a difference for people. Little things all the way to being a courageous voice for a cause that you believe is important. Can I tell you that I know without a second's hesitation tonight from all the experiences I personally have had, that creating this kind of a platform and that mindset will definitely lead you to a life full of purpose and joy. I know that all of us in this arena tonight want to send our very best wishes to you as you continue on to the next step in your own very incredible journey. And I've really enjoyed being a part of this with you tonight. Enjoy your celebration. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Coach Sharp. Let's give her another round of applause for that inspirational address. Thank you.
We will now proceed with the conferring of the degrees. Would all candidates please rise? Degrees are awarded to those who have successfully completed all requirements established by the university and the faculty of their colleges and departments. President Nellis, the candidates are recommended to you for conferring of their respective degrees.
By the virtue of the authority vested in me by the Texas Tech University Board of Regents, I confer upon each of you the degree for which the provost has recommended you. Congratulations. And you may be seated.
We will now proceed with the recognition of individual graduates. You will note that we have a table located at the west side of the stage. A representative from the Alumni Association will be handing each graduate a commemorative lapel pin as a gift from the association, along with instructions on how to activate the complimentary Alumni Association membership.
We will begin by recognizing those candidates who have achieved the highest academic degree, the doctoral degree. These graduates have spent years studying, researching, and writing to get to this point in their career. And in that time, they have formed close relationships with the faculty. Tonight, by tradition, the graduates will be vested with the doctoral hood, which will be presented by their major professor. This investiture represents an honor for both the major advisor and the student and signifies the completion of the graduate study at Texas Tech. After the recognition of the doctoral candidates, we will then recognize the recipients of the master's degrees.
The banner bearer for the graduate school is receiving a degree of Doctor of Philosophy with a major in Mechanical Engineering, Luke J. Mayer. Dr. Luke J. Mayer, who is being hooded by Professor Darrell James. Receiving the degree of Doctor of Education with a major in Agricultural Education is Dr. Richard Coppage, and he is hooded by Professor Dr. Rudy Ritz. Receiving the degree of Doctor of Philosophy with a major in Agricultural Communication and Education is Dr. Rachel Bobbitt Jackson, hooded by Professor Cindy Akers. Dr. Maria Kalavaki, hooded by Professor David Dorfert. Dr. Cassidy Street, hooded by Professor Scott Burris. Receiving the degree of Doctor of Philosophy with a major in Animal Sciences is Dr. Kishore Gautam, hooded by Professor Michael Ballou. Receiving the degree of Doctor of Philosophy with a major in Plant and Soil Science is Dr. Jerry Moorhead. Receiving the degree of Doctor of Philosophy with a major in Wildlife, Aquatic, and Wildland Science and Management is Dr. Young Suk Jo, hooded by Professor John Backus. Receiving the degree of Doctor of Philosophy with a major in Biology is Dr. Kenneth Warren Griffith, hooded by Professor Brenda Rogers. Dr. Megan Keith, hooded by Professor Robert Bradley. Dr. Jua Wong, hooded by Professor Tigga Kingston. Receiving the degree of Doctor of Philosophy with a major in Zoology is Dr. Nurul An Binti Alias, hooded by Professor Tigga Kingston. Dr. Nikti Ordonez Garza, hooded by Professor Robert Bradley. Receiving a Doctor of Philosophy with a major in Chemistry, Dr. Tradeep Rajale, hooded by Professor David Burney. Receiving the degree of Doctor of Philosophy with a major in Chemistry, Dr. Shika Sharma, hooded by Professor David Burney. Dr. Anurag Srivastava, hooded by Professor David Knaff. Dr. Lenje Jue, hooded by Professor Edward Kitavas. Receiving the degree of Doctor of Philosophy with a major in Counseling Psychology, Dr. Ashley Batastini, hooded by Professor Robert Morgan. Receiving the degree of Doctor of Philosophy with a major in Mass Communications, Dr. Sean Hughes, headed by Professor Eric Bussey. Receiving the degree of Doctor of Philosophy with a major in Mathematics, Dr. Gamaje Lakraj, headed by Professor Leif Ellingson. Receiving the degree of Doctor of Philosophy with a major in Physics, Dr. Thomas Halverson, headed by Professor Bill Poirier. Receiving a Doctor of Philosophy with a major in Technical Communications and Rhetoric, Dr. Belinda Amaya, hooded by Dr. Brian Still. Receiving the degree of Doctor of Philosophy with a major in Technical Communication and Rhetoric, Dr. Ashlyn Reynolds Dyke, hooded by Professor Sean Zinnig. Receiving the degree of Doctor of Education with a major in Educational Leadership, Dr. Sharon Hubbard, hooded by Professor Fernando Valle. Dr. Aisha Hawkins, hooded by Professor Dimitri Jackson-Smith. Dr. Rhonda Lewis, hooded by Professor Dimitri Jackson-Smith. Dr. Leslie Singleton, hooded by Professor Dimitri Jackson-Smith. Dr. Pamela Campbell, hooded by Professor Stephanie Jones. Dr. Kara Larkin-Skinner, hooded by Professor Stephanie Jones. Dr. Julie Neal, hooded by Professor Stephanie Jones. Dr. Gay Lynn Scott, hooded by Professor Stephanie Jones. Receiving the degree of Doctor of Education with a major in Higher Education, Dr. Krista Slako, hooded by Professor Stephanie Jones. Dr. Catherine West, hooded by Professor Stephanie Jones. Receiving the degree of Doctor of Philosophy with a major in Higher Education, Dr. Jennifer Hughes, hooded by Professor Stephanie Jones. Dr. Anna Young, hooded by Professor Stephanie Jones. Receiving the degree of Doctor of Education with a major in Special Education, Dr. Norma Hernandez, hooded by Professor Robin Locke. Receiving the degree of Doctor of Philosophy with a major in Counselor Education, Dr. Sonia Torbert, hooded by Professor Charles Cruz. Receiving the degree of Doctor of Philosophy with a major in Curriculum and Instruction, Dr. Lenny Greenlease, hooded by Professor Barbara Morgan Fleming. Dr. Holly Fulmer-Reese, hooded by Professor Catherine Button. Dr. Joan Jenkins, hooded by Professor Peggy Price. Dr. Latasha Scott Dickerson, hooded by Professor Peggy Price. Dr. Tan Fan, hooded by Professor Sally McMillian. Dr. Jesse Thomas, hooded by Professor Shirley Madsen. Receiving the degree of Doctor of Philosophy with a major in Educational Psychology, Dr. Angela Alejandro, hooded by Professor Lucy Bernard Brock. Dr. Fatih Hocha, hooded by Professor Kama Sawatu. Dr. Lei Ping, hooded by Professor Tara Stevens. Receiving the degree of Doctor of Philosophy with a major in Chemical Engineering, Dr. William Wang, hooded by Professor Siva Vanapali. Receiving the degree of Doctor of Philosophy with a major in Civil Engineering, Dr. Nubia Estrada, hooded by Professor Todd Anderson. Dr. Felipe Estrada, hooded by Professor Annette Hernandez. Dr. Timothy Wood, hooded by Professor William Lawson. Receiving the degree of Doctor of Philosophy with a major in Computer Science, Dr. Venkata Narasimha Rao Anakulo, hooded by Professor Clifford Fedler. Dr. Raymond Pettit, hooded by Professor Susan Mingle. Receiving the degree of Doctor of Philosophy with a major in Electrical Engineering, Dr. Bojoy Pushpakaran, hooded by Professor Stephen Bain. Dr. Sundari Ramabhotla, hooded by Professor Stephen Bain. Dr. Nazanin Nadari, hooded by Professor Milton Smith. Receiving the degree of Doctor of Philosophy with a major in Mechanical Engineering, Dr. Surav Barman, hooded by Professor Gordon Christopher. Dr. John Ilseng, hooded by Professor Attila Ertas. Dr. Ikina Evensor, hooded by Professor Todd Lillian. Dr. Sine Tawalde, hooded by Professor John Carroll. Dr. Eric Brannigan, hooded by Professor Alan Barhorst. Dr. Christopher Umstead, hooded by Professor Alan Barhorst. Receiving the degree of Doctor of Philosophy with a major in Petroleum Engineering, Dr. Wei-Jing Li, hooded by Professor Mohammed Salman. Receiving the degree of Doctor of Philosophy with a major in Systems and Engineering Management, Dr. Diana Barraza, hooded by Professor Mario Barovedis. Dr. David Day, hooded by Professor Jennifer Cross. Dr. Tara Welborn, hooded by Professor Jennifer Cross. Receiving the degree of Doctor of Philosophy with a major in Environmental Toxicology, Pratip Kumar S. Mahalangaya, hooded by Professor Kamalashwar Singh. Receiving the degree of Doctor of Philosophy with a major in Family and Consumer Science Education, Dr. Cynthia Miller, hooded by Professor Karen Alexander. Receiving the degree of Doctor of Philosophy with a major in Hospitality Administration, Dr. Hun Suk Chao, hooded by Professor Jessica Hyun. Receiving the degree of Doctor of Philosophy with a major in Interior and Environmental Design, Dr. Aman Alansari, hooded by Professor Debejyota Pati. Receiving the degree of Doctor of Philosophy with a major in Marriage and Family Therapy, Dr. Hannah Korko Muradi, hooded by Professor Doug Smith. Receiving the degree of Doctor of Philosophy with a major in Nutritional Sciences, Dr. Anuradha Shastri, hooded by Professor Leslie Thompson. Receiving the degree of Doctor of Philosophy with a major in Personal Financial Planning, Dr. Tiao Gu, hooded by Professor Michael Fink. Receiving the degree of Doctor of Musical Arts with a major in Music, Dr. Michael Christensen, hooded by Professor David Deese. Wenling Chua, Dr. Wenling Chua, hooded by Professor Laura Deal. Dr. Li Yang Wan, hooded by Professor William Westney. Dr. Michael Johnson, hooded by Professor Peter Fisher. Dr. Sen Yin Lee, hooded by Professor Dwayne Hill. Dr. Stephen Sims, hooded by Professor Carl Dent. Receiving the degree of Master of Environmental Engineering, Juvencio Zamora. Receiving the degree of Master of Science with a major in Bioengineering, Monica Sharma. Receiving the degree of Master of Science with a major in Computer Science, Meenakshi Palapedi. Receiving the degree of Master of Science in Civil Engineering, Manil Hatawati. Sivin Mirziran. Receiving the degree of Master of Science in Electrical Engineering, Ankit Reddy Ara. Kamalaka Bunapali. Job Darpolar. Raimundo Garcia. Chunhu Liu. Hu Win. Michael Famvu. Siddharth Rajguru. Prabhat Radnala. David Thomas. Madeline Olferts. Medha Vemla. Christopher White. Eve Valentin Zemobat. Receiving the degree of Master of Science in Industrial Engineering, Anand Zunder. Adawait Thakur. Receiving the degree of Master of Science in Mechanical Engineering, Kevin Du. Mark Guerra. Danielle McNeese. Mark Ryan. Neil Vaz. Receiving the degree of Master of Science in Petroleum Engineering, Kelvin Aguirre. Kevin Marfiandra. Philip McElroy. Receiving the degree of Master of Science in Software Engineering, Casey Lee. Receiving the degree of Master of Science in Systems and Engineering Management, Veronica Scarborough. Receiving the degree of Master of Arts with a major in Interdisciplinary Studies, Autumn Author. Ryan Buston. Rachel Traxler. Receiving the degree of Master of Arts with a major in Museum Science, Samantha Biffle. Betsy Dieterman. Daniel Tyler. Michaela Young. Receiving the degree of Master of Science with a major in Environmental Toxicology, Francis Loco. Receiving the degree of Master of Science with a major in Interdisciplinary Studies, Nicolette Amamura. Kelebekov Nergali. Charlie McGee. Jose Alfredo Payan Chavez. Erdem Tokos. Receiving the degree of Master of Science with a major in Environmental Design, Elena Hartman. Misha Kleibrink. Rachita Patel. Receiving the degree of Master of Science with a major in Hospitality and Retail Management, Rachel Aldrich. Lauren Davis. Gina Gayton. Morgan Humphrey. Amy Lott. Catherine Ann Rapp. Yao Qing. Receiving the degree of Master of Science with a major in Marriage and Family Therapy, Nellie Morris. Receiving the degree of Master of Science with a major in Nutritional Sciences, Justina Cassiano. Kayla Clark. Rachel Floyd. Denise Libby. Courtney Lowe. Holly McNeil. Alyssa Richardson. Camille Stutz. Amy Williamson. Receiving the degree of Master of Science with a major in Personal Financial Planning, Alicia Marie Higas. Austin Livette. Rayshawn McCallum. Jane Wan. Zhao Jinyin. Receiving the degree of Master of Arts with a major in Communication Studies, J. Miles Kirk. Receiving the degree of Master of Arts with a major in Mass Communications, Krista Bruton. Jonathan Caudill. Kimberly Couch. Taylor Dunbar. Sierra Gaines. Nathan Jacob Gonzalez. Lauren Hayes. Luke Heath. Lauren Ann Locke. Mary McCormick. Zulfia Medinova. Morgan Parvin. Tegan Raher. Alexandria Salazar. Kayla Suarez. Mary Sabine Wuschlag. Receiving the degree of Master of Art, Education, Holly Baker. Rebecca A. Regalado. Receiving the degree of Master of Arts with a major in Art History, Jamie Lin. Receiving the degree of Master of Fine Arts with a major in Art, Alberto Cariaga. Receiving the degree of Master of Fine Arts with a major in Theater Arts, Performance, and Pedagogy, Amanda Espinoza. Mackenzie Page Kennedy. Receiving the degree of Master of Music, Andrew Allegretto. Christopher Hepburn. Stephanie Joy Resvi Stewart. Receiving the degree of Master of Music Education, Christopher Adame. Receiving the degree of Master of Agribusiness, Yu Sin Zhang. Jorge Ricardo Gomez. Victoria Kalina. Reed Manning. Logan Mason. Jimmy Sias. Receiving the degree of Master of Landscape Architecture, George Strasser. Tucheyu Ivankuleli. Receiving a degree of Master of Science with a major in Agricultural and Applied Economics, Kelsey Stokes. Receiving the degree of Master of Science with a major in Agricultural Communications, Johnny Hughes. Alyssa McLaren. Receiving the degree of Master of Science with a major in Animal Sciences, Gulhurmi Rosati. Susan Sexton. Receiving the degree of Master of Science with a major in Horticulture, Prativa Gautam. Daria McKelvey. Receiving a degree of Master of Science with a major in Plant and Soil Science, Casey Frank. Charles Langdon. Colby Matthew McCormick. Pablo Tovar Balan. Receiving the degree of Master of Science with a major in Wildlife, Aquatic, and Wildland Science and Management. Trevor Gilkhorn. Laurie Groen. Matthew McEwen. Receiving the degree of Masters of Architecture, Mark Anderson. Kelsey Beach. George Blankenship. Ricardo Cuellar. Shane Daves. Ivan Ali Devora. Monty Gumble. Jonathan Lewis Langdon. Alexander Lissy. Tyler Mason. Ryan McAllister. Andrew T. Morrison. Joseph Mueller. Kyle Norton. Brian Edmund Ortiz. Alex Patterson. Gabriel Puga. Carlton Schartle. Tyler Thompson. Aaron Ricardo Vasquez Nieto. Receiving the degree of Master of Architecture and Master of Business Administration with a major in General Business, Alexander Queen. Receiving the degree of Master of Arts with a major in Anthropology, Melanie Highsmith. Lizette Rodriguez. Receiving the degree of Master of Arts with a major in Applied Linguistics, Carlissa Black. Mitchell Grease. Receiving the degree of Master of Arts with a major in Economics, Wei Shan Hung. Godfrey Mungingiji. Receiving the degree of Master of Arts with a major in English, Stacy Lee Hinshin. Allison Lee Spikes. Savannah Elizabeth Wood. Receiving the degree of Master of Arts with a major in History, Samantha Lepard. Receiving the degree of Master of Arts with a major in Languages and Cultures, Rusha Al-Khareja. Siham Al-Sad. Timothy Langston. Receiving the degree of Master of Arts with a major in Psychology, Dmitry Penyakov. Receiving the degree of Master of Arts with a major in Sociology, Alfredo Edward Falcon. Victor M. Reta. Receiving the degree of Master of Public Administration, Arnold A. R. Alenez II. Chloe Rambila. Arasima Ibarra. Paige Millenkamp. Receiving the degree of Master of Science with a major in Applied Physics, Abdulaziz Mohammed Al-Meghith. Receiving the degree of Master of Science with a major in Applied Physics, Dongyao Kiao. Receiving the degree of Master of Science with a major in Biology, Michael Heinemann. Receiving the degree of Master of Science with a major in Chemistry, Sharima Maharuban. Receiving the degree of Master of Science with a major in Forensic Science, Victoria Martinez. Melissa McFeeters. Receiving a degree of Master of Science with a major in Kinesiology, Brooklyn Dindal. Nathan Garcia. Augustine Gonzalez. Todrick LaShawn Gocher. Clark Lammert. Receiving a degree of Master of Arts with a major in Mathematics, Kyle John Steinley. Laura Kimka. Receiving a Master of Science with a major in Kinesiology, Michael Kenny. Kimberly Mansion. Victoria Olson. Malia Shorp. Jenny Wall. Receiving the degree of Master of Science with a major in Mathematics, Kayla Como. Receiving the degree of Master of Science with a major in Statistics, Jonathan Frederick Dorsbakis. Receiving the degree of Master of Business Administration with a major in General Business, Pete Atterburn. James Anthony Bill. Daniel Breedlove. Andrew Buchok. Nicholas Burns. Guy Chadwick. Gerald Creel. Rodney Davis. Melissa Dvorak. Bertrand Eban. Jose Escavi. Ruslan Filyakov. Bethany Fisher. Aldo Gallegos. Zachary Garrett. Bo Justin G. Lorenzo Gonzalez. William Grout. Denise Gray. Justin Gray. Sarah Gunkel. Clinton Hadaway. Kevin Henry. Christina Hernandez. Jose Hernandez. Kayla Hopkins. Samuel Hurley. Benita Elasame. Lindsay Ivy. Irfan Jabbar. Mike David Jackson. Edwin Yanich. Joseph Michael Jeffrey. Jacob Keys. Jerry Lawson. Wyatt Level. Jarrett Finlinson Lever. Meredith Livermore. Ashley Lloyd. Crystal Lloyd. Hector Lujan. Jonathan Magallanes. Joseph Martinez. Jasmine McCabe Gossett. Thomas Landon McCluskey. Jonathan McConville. Devin McCoy. Justin McKinney. Sean McLaughlin. Scott McNear. Samuel Mendoza, Jr. Jared Miller. Carlos Morales. Miles Morgan. Randy Scott Morris. Brandon Neal. John Roscoe Nickens IV. Mark Niklaus. Andreas Pedroza. Vangela Perryman. Stephen Price. Stephanie Reed. Russ Rowan. Nolan Rutherford. Bianca Salas. Receiving a Master of Business Administration with a major in General Business, Fabian Sanchez. Christina Sierra. Matthew Simpkins. Brent Staley. Sherry Stanfield. Dr. Bianca Starks. Shane Stroh. Stephanie Taylor Jackson. Callie Thompson. Nathan Trin. Kayla Tullis. James Urban. Matthew Vaughn. Dale Webb. Christopher White. Sarah White. Stephen Wolf. Dennison Ray. Eric Wright. John Cecil. Receiving the degree of Master of Science with a major in Business Administration, Jonathan Hunter King. Nina Vinklarova. Receiving a degree of Master of Business Administration with a major in General Business and Master of Science with a major in Business Administration, Brittany Porter. Taylor Reed. Simpson. Receiving the degree of Master of Science with a major in Management Information Systems, Pranit Abaraja. Dima Alasaf. Bhavya Bhatia. Neda Chanduk. Ramshi Krishna Chugolapali. Shivjit Deogori. Sushil Damale. Aksha Danabalsame. Raj Domala. Sandeep Kumar Luru Srinivasalu. Satya Prakash Enagula. Yash Gejbiye. Vivek Gangasani. Dale Gaines. Abod Gawande. Tushar Golhar. Zachary Ryan Gonzalez. Akshate Uloye. Priyanka Andapokar. Sonali Jindal. Arina Katara. Bharat Kinchapa Narayanapa. Akshay Kulkarni. Mandar Kunte. Vajish Balakrishan Nanan. Srikanth Reddy Lankala. Sitaram Reddy. Manu Bera. Kiran Kishore Miriala. Sri Krishna Mirasor Srinivas. Manaprakash Reddy. Vyomakesha Panda. Shri Yogitya Patil. Shrikant Penagunda. Sharat Kumar Pulapa. Ashwin Roj. Ramsi Krishna Sabaseti. Anrud Samodarala. Sei Sandeep Sukha. Pramad Reddy Sareddy. Jainam Shah. Apurv Sharma. Shweta Shetty. Vagan Shingiri Kanda. Pranay Chandra Siri. Santake Sushilu Kumar Kishe. Sharat Kumar Shriram. Nagasai Andita Tsiddakala Gamala. Pratmesh Tarka. Vanibubo Tumala. Rita Shandana Tumalapali. Varun Kumar Vanka. Hitesh Viramachan Neni. Nikita Viket Michindra. Nagamuhan Volosa. Voloru. Receiving a degree of Master of Science with a major in Management Information Systems and Business Administration, Xingbin Lin. Receiving the degree of Master of Science in Accounting, Lindsay Baird. Carson Besner. Brooke Broughton. Blake Chandler. Kayla Collier. Elizabeth Cowan. Samuel Dunphy. Andrew Eames. Jamie Gann. Roberto Gonzalez. Nicole Jameson. Hillary Joyner. Samantha Kinney. William Andre Maggio. Morgan McVicker. Elizabeth Metters. Tara Robinson. Blanca Lorena Gutierrez Roncal. Jason Seafield. Matthew Slintz. Will Stone. Hayden Taylor. Brandon Thompson. Nathan Tote. Samantha Wagner. Whitney White. Receiving the degree of Master of Education with a major in Bilingual Education, Kristen Malden. Receiving the degree of Master of Education with a major in Counselor Education, Stephanie Haynes. Nicole Gonzalez. Stephanie Allen Jones. Rachel Owen. Shelley M. Pattison. Ashley Penner. Receiving a degree of Master of Education with a major in Curriculum and Instruction, Cassandra Garcia. Sarah Koenig. Receiving a degree of Master of Education with a major in Educational Leadership, Nida Amonaya. Tiffany Cheadle. Arlie Vega Diaz. Sabrina Houston. Chris Lemons. Robert Olivo. Rachel Phillips. Receiving a degree of Master of Education with a major in Instructional Technology, Bart DeLuey. Receiving a degree of Master of Education with a major in Special Education, Renee Alcalin. Carla Bishop Morales. Veronica Cruz. Bianca Marcela Gabriel. Jenna Daly. Dina Lachey Evans. Natalie Flores. Daphne Veronica Frausto Masson. Ashley Langton. Danielle Yvette Lavala. Sarah McMurray. Chelsea Janelle McPhail. Luzmila Moreno. Benjamin Lanny Nobles. Sarah Olvera. Carrie Richter. Keira Uhl. Michaela Zelmer.
So I know the audience would like to join me in another round of applause for our graduates. Let's give them another round of applause. You may have noticed that some of our graduates and faculty are wearing camouflage stoles. The individuals wearing these stoles have served as active duty in our armed forces. With the graduates, faculty, and members of the audience who have served in our military, please rise and let's recognize them for their service to our country. Thank you, and you may be seated. We have now come to the concluding moments of the commencement ceremony, but please allow me a few more words before we end. Graduates, again, congratulations on a job very well done. Attaining a master's or doctoral degree is a significant accomplishment. It speaks to your high level of personal motivation, natural curiosity, and love of intellectual pursuit. Let me assure you that the entire Texas Tech University community is proud of your achievements, as are your parents, family, loved ones, and friends who are sharing this day with you. Again, as Regent Lancaster said, as much as graduation is about you, the graduate, it's also about the people who helped you get to this moment. Your education has not been a solitary endeavor. This is not a journey you've taken alone. Your families and friends have been there beside you. And I'd like to ask the family and friends who are here today in the audience to please rise. And graduates, let's give them a round of applause for their support. Thank you, and you may be seated. Hopefully your graduate studies have provided the opportunity to develop a special relationship with a mentor, to learn from other students, and to sample the ideas of faculty as you've acquired the prevailing wisdom of your particular field. During your time at Tech, the faculty have done more than share their knowledge of the subject matter. They have provided skill and qualities you'll need for success in your future. Some have inspired you, and many have become your friends, and we all take much pride in your success. I'd like our faculty who are here tonight to please rise, and let's give our faculty of Texas Tech University a round of applause. Our faculty. And thank you. To Chancellor Duncan and each member of the Texas Tech Board of Regents, we thank you for your vision and your guidance. Graduates, your departure from this arena today is another reminder that change is inevitable. But by virtue of your experience at Texas Tech University, you've established friendships that will last a lifetime. These relationships are a source of stability and fulfillment. Nurture those friendships and hold close to your connections to Texas Tech University. You and this university will be better for it. Texas Tech University will always be your home. Return to campus when you can. Speak well of your alma mater and tell the world with pride that you're a Red Raider. To our graduates of the class of December 2015, my heartfelt congratulations to all of you. I certainly wish you all best wishes for success, and guns up. And now I'd like you all to please rise as we sing the Alma Mater, led by Mr. Stephen Sims. The words are located on the back cover of your program and on the ribbon screen around the arena. It's time now that we sing the Alma Mater. Parents and other guests of our graduates, please be seated for the recessional. Graduates will meet in the City Bank room on the second floor of the arena. Thank you all for your attendance and participation in this, the December 2015 Texas Tech University Graduate School Commencement. And again, guns up.